Lovely viewers, welcome back, and today we have one of those stories that feels almost too dramatic to be real, yet it's stirring up conversations everywhere. Imagine this. Song Hye Kyo, the beloved actress who has been glowing in her new chapter of life with Minho, suddenly finds herself at the center of whispers that her ex-husband, Song Joong, has secretly sent her a gift. Yes, you heard that right, a gift from her ex. The moment the rumor surfaced, fans everywhere had their jaws on the floor, debating whether this was a kind gesture, a bold move, or something much deeper. Let's take a walk through this story together. And as always, I want you to react, share your feelings, and imagine the scenarios right alongside me. Now let's set the scene. According to the speculation, Song Joong sent a mysterious package to Song Hye Kyo, something elegant but understated, carefully delivered in a way that kept people guessing. No flashy declarations, no names attached, just a whisper of mystery. And when word got out, fans started buzzing. Why now? Why would he send her something in secret? Is it a token of respect, a sign of lingering feelings, or perhaps just a thoughtful gesture with no strings attached? Lovely viewers, what would you think if an ex of yours sent you a secret gift? Would you see it as closure, confusion, or maybe even temptation? The rumor instantly split fans into two groups. On one side are those who think it was a sweet and respectful move. Perhaps Joong's way of saying he still holds no ill will, especially as Hye Kyo moves forward in her life. On the other side, fans are more cautious, saying it's inappropriate or even disruptive, considering that she's now deeply in love with Minho. They argue that sending a gift secretly, instead of openly, suggests there's more emotion behind it than just friendliness. And here's where you, lovely viewers, come in. Whose side do you find yourself leaning toward? Do you believe in friendly gestures from an ex? Or do you see it as crossing a line? Let's imagine Song Hye Kyo's perspective for a moment. Receiving something unexpected from an ex could stir a lot of feelings. Perhaps she opened it in private, her heart beating a little faster, not because she longs for the past, but because of the weight such a gesture carries. Was it a simple item like a book she once mentioned loving, or a piece of jewelry that reminded him of her? Or was it something symbolic, like a letter folded into the package, carrying words that the world might never see? Viewers, put yourself in her shoes. How would you feel if someone you once shared so much history with suddenly reached out through a gift? And then, of course, the other layer of this story. Minho. Fans can't help but speculate how he would react if the rumor is true. Would he be calm and understanding, knowing that gifts don't erase the strength of the love he shares with Hye Kyo? Or would he feel unsettled, wondering why Joong would choose now of all times to send something? Some fans even playfully imagine Minho raising an eyebrow and asking her teasingly, "So, what's in the box?" While others imagine him brushing it off with quiet confidence, because after all, he is the one who has her heart now. Lovely viewers, how do you think Minho should react? Would you prefer him to laugh it off, or to firmly protect his place in her life? The media frenzy around this rumor has only added fuel to the fire. Tabloids are speculating endlessly about what the gift could have been, while gossip forums are filled with wild theories. Some claim it was an expensive designer item, others believe it was something far more personal, like a handwritten note or an old photograph. And here's the fun part for us to imagine together. If it were a letter, what would Song Joong write? Would it be an apology, a reflection, or simply a quiet wish for her happiness? Fans have even begun writing their own imagined versions of what the letter might have said, turning this rumor into a full-blown narrative. But beyond the drama, there's a very human element here too. Sometimes, even after years and even after parting ways, there can be moments where people feel compelled to acknowledge the place someone once held in their lives. Could this be what happened here? A silent, respectful acknowledgement, perhaps triggered by seeing her so happy and wanting to offer a gesture of goodwill? Or was it more complicated? Maybe even a tug of emotions that aren't fully gone? These are the questions fans are debating. And now, lovely viewers, I turn the question to you. Can gifts from an ex ever be truly innocent? The timing of this rumor makes it even more intriguing. With Song Hye Kyo openly confessing her love for Minho recently, and with fans speculating about marriage and deeper commitments, Some wonder if Joong-ki's alleged gift is a way of inserting himself back into the narrative. Others say it's pure coincidence, a gesture that the media has overblown. Still, it feels almost like the plot of a drama. A woman in love, a partner devoted to her, and an ex quietly sending a present from the shadows. Doesn't it sound like something we'd all binge-watch if it were on screen? And perhaps that's why this story has captivated so many hearts. It's not just about the people involved, but about the universal feelings it stirs up. Almost everyone has a story about an ex, a past love, or an unexpected gesture that made them stop and think. Song Hye Kyo's situation just amplifies it on a public scale, making us all reflect on how we'd react. Would you accept the gift and move on? Would you hide it to avoid stirring issues? Or would you tell your current partner right away, confident that nothing could shake your bond? As we wait to see if either Song Hye Kyo or Song Joong-ki addresses these rumors, one thing is clear. The story has reignited the curiosity around their past and the fascination with her present. It reminds us that love, past or present, leaves traces that sometimes resurface in unexpected ways. And in her case, those traces have the power to spark global discussions, inspire endless fan theories, and keep us all hooked to the unfolding narrative. So, lovely viewers, let's bring it back to you. What do you think this alleged secret gift was? Do you believe Song Joong-ki truly sent it? Or is it just another rumor magnified by the spotlight? And most importantly, how do you think Song Hye Kyo should handle it if it's real? Keep it private, speak about it openly, or simply ignore it? Let's pick up exactly where we stopped, because this story of a possible gift from the ex is far too layered to leave hanging. We were asking what the secret present might have been, and how Song Hye Kyo should handle it if it really did come from Song Joong-ki. Now let's push this further. Imagine the ripple effects such a gesture could create, not just between her and Minho, but in the way fans and the media interpret it. Picture this. The package arrives quietly, delivered by a trusted courier with no flashy signatures, just elegance and mystery. Song Hye Kyo opens it and finds something that stirs memories. A designer perfume she once wore during her marriage, a favorite book they used to talk about, or perhaps even something as symbolic as a delicate bracelet. The moment she sees it, she knows exactly who it's from, even without a name attached. Her expression would be a mix of surprise, nostalgia, and perhaps a touch of unease. After all, gifts carry messages, and this one, coming from the past, carries a weight she can't ignore. Lovely viewers, how would you interpret that? An act of kindness, a longing for connection, or a way to stir emotions at a delicate time in her life? Fans, of course, wouldn't stop at speculation. Online discussions have already transformed into heated debates. Some fans argue that Joong-ki might simply be expressing gratitude, perhaps marking an anniversary of their time together or quietly saying goodbye to lingering feelings. Others, however, see it as intrusion, a way of pulling her back into a narrative she has clearly moved on from. The interesting part is how divided even her most loyal followers are. Half feel protective over her newfound happiness with Minho, while the other half are strangely nostalgic, wondering if this gesture could signal unresolved emotions between the former couple. Lovely viewers, which side do you find yourself on? And then comes the inevitable question. Did Minho see it? Did Song Hye Kyo tell him right away? Choosing transparency as the foundation of their bond. Fans love to imagine this scenario. She sits him down, shows him the gift, and explains it with honesty. Maybe he smiles gently, reassures her that the past has no power over the love they share, and brushes it off as nothing more than a relic of history. Or maybe, just maybe, he feels a flicker of jealousy, not because he doubts her but because of how bold the gesture was. After all, what man wouldn't feel a pang if his partner's ex suddenly reappeared with a secret present? Lovely viewers, if you were Minho, how would you react? Cool confidence or protective seriousness? And imagine, if you will, how the press might spin it if Minho were ever spotted near her after this rumor spread. Every little smile, every quiet moment of affection between them would be dissected as proof that they're stronger than ever, or in more dramatic tabloids as signs of tension. This is where the story takes on the feel of a live drama, because no matter what the reality is behind closed doors, the public perception becomes its own powerful narrative. Fans on both sides would amplify their voices, either praising Hye Kyo for handling it gracefully or questioning why the past keeps resurfacing. Another interesting layer, viewers, is what this gift, if real, could mean symbolically. It might not even be about rekindling romance at all. Sometimes gifts are about closure, about tying loose ends quietly. Could Song Joong-ki be sending a signal that he's finally at peace, and that this is his way of saying goodbye properly? Or is it, as some believe, an opening? A reminder that no matter how far they've drifted, their history will always tether them in some invisible way. These interpretations are what make the story so intriguing, because they leave room for imagination, debate, and endless possibilities. And let's not forget the emotional side of this. For Song Hye Kyo, no matter how strong or confident she is now, such a gesture could stir emotions. It doesn't mean longing for the past, but sometimes, reminders of what once was can create a swirl of feelings: gratitude, sadness, reflection. Perhaps she quietly set the gift aside, not wanting to dwell on it. Or perhaps she kept it for a moment, examining what it represented, before deciding it belonged to a chapter of her life she has already closed. Lovely viewers, if you were her, would you keep the gift, politely return it, or simply let it disappear into silence? Fans are even speculating about how this alleged act might affect the dynamics between the three stars moving forward. Could Joong-ki's rumored gesture stir awkwardness if they all find themselves at the same event? Could it spark a protective side in Lee Minho that fans haven't seen yet? Or will it fade into just another rumor, buried by the flood of new headlines? These are the what-ifs that make fans so invested, because each possibility feels like another episode in a drama we can't stop watching. What's fascinating is how this story has reignited the wider conversation about exes in general. People are asking themselves, can an ex ever truly let go? Can gifts from the past ever be free of hidden meaning? And beyond that, what does it say about the resilience of new love when old chapters try to resurface? Song Hye Kyo's journey has become more than celebrity gossip. It's a mirror, reflecting our own questions about relationships, closure, and moving on. So, lovely viewers, as we continue to follow this intriguing story, I want to leave you with a question that ties it all together. If you were in Song Hye Kyo's position, happy in a new love, but faced with a secret gift from an ex, would you treat it as a harmless gesture, a potential problem, or a meaningful closure? Share your thoughts, because your voices keep this conversation alive. And together we're not just watching a story unfold, we're part of the dialogue shaping it. The world learned that the mysterious present really did come from Song Joong-ki. Just imagine the frenzy. One simple revelation could flip the internet upside down, sending fans racing to their keyboards, media outlets scrambling for angles, and the couple themselves, Song Hye Kyo and Lee Minho, suddenly at the center of a storm that feels larger than life. Now picture the headlines. Gift from the ex confirmed. Song Joong-ki reaches out to Song Hye Kyo in secret. Instantly, the media would dive into analysis. Was it an act of nostalgia? Was it love? Or was it closure disguised as a present? Newsrooms across Korea, China, and even Hollywood would want a piece of the story. Commentators would dissect every word and action from Joong-ki, and the press would start digging for clues about his intentions. Lovely viewers, how do you think the narrative would spin? Would the world sympathize with him, or criticize him for stepping into a love story that doesn't belong to him anymore? The fans, let's not forget them. Some would rally behind Joong-ki, saying his gesture shows he's still a man with a heart, a man who once loved deeply and can't fully let go. Others would be outraged, defending Hye Kyo and Lee Min-ho fiercely, insisting that the past should remain the past. Imagine the debates on social media. Twitter threads running thousands of comments long, TikTok edits showing the timeline of their relationships, Instagram polls asking fans to vote, innocent gift or deliberate intrusion. Lovely viewers, where would you stand in this heated fan war? Now think of Lee Min-ho. If the identity of the sender were confirmed, the spotlight would shine on him just as much as on Hye Kyo. Fans would watch his every move, waiting to see how he reacts. Would he step up with a calm and confident message, reassuring the world that their love is unshakable? Or would he remain silent, letting his actions, holding her hand in public, smiling proudly beside her, speak louder than any words could. Some fans believe his quiet strength would only make Hye Kyo's confession about falling in love daily even more powerful. After all, true love doesn't fear shadows. It grows stronger in the light of transparency. Lovely viewers, if you were Minho, what would you do? Make a public statement or protect your love by staying silent? And then there's Song Hye Kyo herself. If Joong Ki's role were confirmed, her every reaction would become news. Would she acknowledge the gift gracefully, framing it as nothing more than a gesture of goodwill? Or would she choose to ignore it completely, signaling to the world that she is focused solely on her future with Lee Minho? Either way, the choice she makes could define how fans interpret her journey. Some might admire her grace, while others might wish for firmer boundaries. Lovely viewers, if you were in her position, how would you handle the weight of such a revelation? The symbolism of the gift would also grow heavier once confirmed. If it was jewelry, fans might read it as a longing for connection. If it was a book, perhaps it carried hidden meaning, pages marked with notes or quotes they once shared. If it was a simple handwritten letter, oh, the possibilities. Fans would pore over every imagined word, turning speculation into poetry. What if he wrote something like, "I wish you happiness, even if it's not with me"? Can you feel how that would echo across the internet, sparking both tears and debates? And let's not forget how such a confirmation would impact the love story we're all watching so closely, Hye Kyo and Minho. For some fans, the gift would only highlight how strong they are together, how even the shadows of the past can't dim the present glow of their love. For others, it would become a point of tension, a reminder that the past is never too far behind. But perhaps in the end, it could also serve as a turning point, a test that proves their bond isn't fragile but unshakable. Wouldn't it be poetic if, in response to the noise, Minho simply did something tender in public, like tucking Hye Kyo's hair behind her ear or holding her hand tighter, showing the world that no gift from the past can compete with daily love in the present? Lovely viewers, these what-ifs aren't just wild fantasies. They're reflections of why we're all so invested. Because behind the glitz, fame, and headlines, this story mirrors our own lives. We've all faced moments where the past knocks on the door just as we're trying to move forward. And seeing how stars like Hye Kyo and Minho might navigate it gives us courage, comfort, and sometimes even lessons for our own journeys. So let me ask you again, if this gift were officially confirmed to be from Song Joong Ki, what do you think it would mean? Would you see it as a harmless farewell, a desperate reach for connection, or a bold move that could change the dynamics forever? Share your thoughts, because your voices are part of this unfolding story, and together we keep this love saga alive. Not just as spectators, but as a community reflecting, questioning, and dreaming.